If the youth comes up, will it be enough for the Jays to make things happen this season? There we go, we're starting to get to the teams that are okay and not terrible. In terms of who was brought in, Matt Shoemaker comes in on a 1-year contract. Then Freddie Galvis and David Phelps also come in on 1-year contracts, but with club options for 2020. And then they acquired David Paulino and Trent Thornton from trades with Houston, Clayton Richard from San Diego, John Axford was signed to a minor league deal, and then Elvis Luciano was a Rule 5 pick. In terms of their losses, Troy Tulowitzki to the Yankees, Yangervis Solarte to the Giants, Marco Estrada to Oakland, and Tyler Clippard just not brought back. With this lineup, Billy McKinney does look pretty promising. They have Justin Smoke, who has emerged as a solid cleanup hitter and also in a contract year, so he could have a really good season. And then there's Kendrys Morales, decent power bat and can get on base a bit. But Lourdes Gurriel Jr. looks like a solid power bat, or at least look like he can provide a solid power bat. Then there's Randall Grichuk, good for 20 home runs and 20 doubles, but doesn't do much else. And Kevin Pillar gets some doubles and gets a few hits. Freddie Galvis, not a very good bat. Brandon Drury could maybe have a better season with a larger role, and Danny Jensen does look like he could be a good catcher. And so with their bench, Luke Miley, not very good. Devin Travis hasn't really panned out. But Teoscar Hernandez had a decent season and is a solid backup outfielder. And so then with their hitting depth, Reese McGuire wants a highly touted prospect. I'm not sure if he'll pan out though. And there's Roddy Tellez, he does look good and could replace Morales or Smoke. And then there's also Vladimir Guerrero Jr. He looks the part and could be the face of the franchise and the key contributor for them at third base for a few years, for a long time actually, if they're able to keep him. Then there's Bo Bichetti, he looks like the future at shortstop as well. So Tellez, Guerrero, and Bichetti all look like future pieces to build with or to build around. But then there's guys like Eric Sogard who aren't very good. And then you have some sketchy prospects like Anthony Alford and Richard Urania. Dwight Smith Jr. does look like he could be pretty good, but gonna need to see more out of him. And then there's Dalton Pompey, hasn't been anything special. Then with their rotation, Marcus Stroman had an underachieving season. Aaron Sanchez could be better if he doesn't have to go through as many injuries. Ryan Baruchi does look very solid. But Matt Shoemaker has been banged up the past few years and could be okay if healthy. And then Clayton Richard hasn't been good in a few years. So some questionable pieces in the rotation. Then with their minor leaguers, you have Thomas Pannone. Looks like he could be okay. Sean Reed Foley, need to see more out of him. I also need to see more out of Julian Merriweather. And Sam Gaviglio, just not that good. And so with this sketchy bullpen, Ken Giles, Ryan Tepera, and Tim Maiza all lead the front. And it's complemented with John Axford, who hasn't been good in a few years. And David Paulino, who had a good year, but not sure if he'll have that season again. And then there's also Joe Biagini and Trent Thornton, guys that are not good. And Elvis Luciano, a guy that'll be thrusted into the fire very quickly. Could be anyways. With their bullpen depth, ooh boy, this is just looking awful. Danny Barnes, Justin Schaefer, not that good. And then Mark Leiter and Javi Guerra, not good in their own right. And then with injuries, David Phelps, Tommy John surgery, out for 2019. And so now we tally it up. Lineup, C+. Hitting depth, B. Rotation, C. Starter depth, D+. Bullpen, D. Bullpen depth, F. Unimpressive roster when it comes to their pitching depth and when it comes to their pitching as a whole, because their rotation has some sketchy pieces and their bullpen just sketchy. So pretty similar to the 2017 A's, where they have a lot of guys that could be coming, or a few guys that could be coming up and taking the reins over some of their temporary band-aids that are going to be starting in the lineup to start the season. And then with their coaching staff, their new manager, Charlie Montoyo, has a pretty good track record. So I think that he could be a pretty good manager. And they also have a hitting coach, Guillermo Martinez. Looks like a promising hitting coach. Pete Walker has been pretty solid, but does have some underachievers. And then Matt Bushman, I'm just not sure about him yet. So when I tally this up, the manager gets a grade of a B-, hitting coach B-, pitching coach C+, and the bullpen coach no grade. I think that this coaching staff could be pretty promising and could be better than what they had last year. but I'm gonna have to see it, which is why I'm still kind of skeptical about this team. And so now with their AL East opponents, they face Boston and New York 10 times at home, 9 times on the road. Then they travel to Baltimore 10 times as well as Tampa Bay 10 times, and host those teams 9 times at home. With the rest of the AL, they host the White Sox 3 times and go to Chicago 4 times. Same goes for Cleveland and Minnesota. Then they host Detroit 4 times and go to Detroit 3 times. Same with Kansas City and the Angels. And then the rest 3 times at home, 3 times on the road. And then with interleague play, they face the NL West. They get a gift here because it's the worst division in the National League. Gonna have to take advantage of their series against the Diamondbacks as well as against the Padres, because they go to Colorado and to Los Angeles, which are both going to be pretty tough series. And they're also going to have to take advantage of the fact that they face Steph twice at home and twice on the road. So overall, relatively easy schedule. Easier than most other schedules, and that's where they should look to take some advantage. And so now, where all the takes are going to be horrifically wrong by season's end. Bleacher Report's record prediction is 68 and 94. Pretty low if you ask me. But then RotoChamp, 78 and 84. Fangraphs, 1 win less of that. And Pacoda, 1 win less of the latter. With the over-under, I'm going under, slightly under of 76.5 wins, but I'm saying 76 and 86. Like I said, similar to the 2017 A's in the sense that they do have some young waves of prospects coming up, or they have a young wave of prospects coming up pretty soon, and some temporary band-aids that are going to be shipped off after that. But at the same time, they have a very sketchy bullpen and some questionable rotation pieces. So yeah, just 76 and 86. 1 win better than what that team, what the A's did during that season. And, giving their fans a bit of false hope through the All-Star break, going 46 and 45. But otherwise, that'll do it. Of course, this is going to age poorly, but you know the drill. Personal at the top, and YouTube at the bottom. And that'll do it for this video. I'm gonna close it out right here.